This is an amazing idea to think about. But if you were deformed, if you were ill, they didn't throw you out. They spent a lot of time to take care of you. Even though, from their perspective, it was a waste of time and energy. Because you're going to die anyway. So why would they do that? Well, there are three possibilities, okay? The first possibility is it's really about maintaining cosmic balance and harmony. Everything is a cycle. Meaning what? Meaning we're all part of God. And if you suffer, then we have to make you better because we're all part of God together. Okay? So the concepts are unity of all, as above, so below. Set a good example to others. Okay? So it's the first possibility. Second possibility is because this is a pre-literate society, people have a stronger sense of empathy and morality. So they didn't want to see others suffer. Okay? And the third possibility is they appreciate diversity and difference in a way we don't anymore. Okay? Our entire school system is designed as survival of the fittest. If you can't do math, goodbye, you're worthless. If you can't get 100 on a test, goodbye, you're worthless, okay? But back then, they saw difference and diversity as gifts from God, right? So if you're a dwarf, it meant you had something special to offer. If you're strong, yeah, you can go hunt animals and you can protect the family. But if you're a dwarf, it meant that you might have something else to offer. And if we just celebrate you as someone who has something special to offer, then you can offer it to us, okay? And often, what they could do is, well, they could probably sing better, they could probably tell better stories, they had more wisdom, they had more intuition, their connection with the divine, okay? And that's true even today, where the best storytellers, the best musicians are often those who are marginalized from society, those who are strangers, those who are outsiders, those who society persecutes. They probably have greater imagination, greater intuition, greater empathy. And today, we don't celebrate these things, but back then, they did celebrate those things. So if you were different, if you were deformed, if you were ill, they saw you as blessed rather than cursed. And that's what we've forgotten today. Okay? All right, so that's it. This is just an introduction into the entirety of human history, okay? We're going to go pretty fast. Any questions? Yeah.
So would you say that because you made the examples using, you said Alzheimer's, autistic people, so would you say that people with cognitive disability in like modern age are like closer to the divine, or like we're returning to the divine by abandoning our cognitive so-called like, the like logic and everything that the civilization is? Would you say that makes us closer, would bring us closer to the divine?
Yeah, great question, okay, yeah. So, first of all, we're all connected to the divine, but we just choose to forget we're connected to the divine, okay? Why? Because society, mass society, needs you to be obedient, needs you to be a machine, needs you to work, to be obedient, okay? So the entire point of school is to separate you from the divine. Why? Because at an early age, you're removed from your parents, okay? And in school, you're taught all sorts of like really strange knowledge, like 1 + 1 = 2. Like who cares 1 + 1 = 2, okay? But you're taught this is what matters. And before, we would just let kids run around nature and learn resilience, learn courage, learn creativity, okay? So the entire point of society is to brainwash you or remove you from the divine. But there's certain members of society who can't be removed from the divine because we don't want them, right? So kids who are autistic, kids with disabilities, kids who are just different, okay? Once you discard it, they actually return to the divine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's like, for example, a lot of people develop cognitive disabilities after a lot of, like you said, being put into schools, being kind of limited by the civilization. Would you say that in that circumstance, by developing or be given a cognitive disability, we're actually reconnecting with the divine?
Okay, yeah, okay. So let's clarify, okay? So in China, in the United States, everywhere in the world, we're seeing a massive surge in mental illnesses, right? So depression, eating disorders, suicidal tendencies, anxiety, fear, Okay, so I mean, like, it's just an explosion these past 20 years, especially with the advent of mobile phones, social media, the internet, okay? So kids' lives suck, okay? So why are kids so miserable? And the answer is that when you're born, you have an automatic connection with the divine, okay? So, and as you lose this connection, you grow more and more confused, which leads to anxiety and doubt. And over time, if this confusion is not addressed properly, then it will lead to depression, okay? So another simple way of saying this is we crave human connection. We crave knowledge of the divine. We crave purpose and meaning in our lives. But the social media system has created this fake system in which you are in prison, our imagination is in prison in pursuing activities that absolutely have no purpose, right? So on social media, all you care about is likes. How do I get my friends to like me, okay? So you do sorts of silly things like, I don't know, post pictures of you dancing in Hawaii or whatever, even though it gives you no meaning, okay? So what's happening is, before we cared about what makes us happy, and now we care about what we think would make other people happy, okay? And that's not who we are. Okay? Once you lose that connection to the divine, then you can only get lost. So if you deny your intuition, if you deny your emotions, then you'll just become more and more miserable. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay?
Like the strong empathy that you just mentioned, I thought that I'm curious where the strong empathy come from, because I usually thought that our empathy is shaped by the socialization and social norms by the society.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good question. Okay, so empathy just means our connections with others. Okay, and this is something we're born with. So a mother is born with an emotional connection with a child, right? And a child has an emotional connection with the mother. And over time, as this connection grows, their empathy develops. And this empathy almost becomes telepathic, so that even if the child is in school and the child is bullied, the mother is washing her clothes. She's like, I don't feel right. Maybe I should call the teacher and ask how my child is doing, okay? Okay? So that's what empathy is. Empathy just means a natural emotional connection that we're all born with. But it's entirely possible, and we know this from our study, to break that connection by sending the child off to school, by having a child online too much, by having a child watch television too much, okay? Breaking that emotional connection. And once the emotional connection is broken, remember, empathy, we crave empathy. We crave emotions more than we crave food. So it's as though we're becoming zombies almost, right? If you don't have empathy, if you don't feel connected with other people, it's as though you become a zombie. You don't have any direction. You don't have any purpose. You don't have any meaning in life anymore. And that's what leads to tremendous depression, okay? Does that make sense? So we are not socialized into empathy. We are socialized out of empathy. We're born into empathy. Okay? All right. Great questions, okay? Any more questions? Okay, great, guys. So I will see you next time, all right? We'll continue this next time, okay? So I'm just introducing these concepts, but we'll expand them and use more examples and learn more about human history from this framework. All right, okay? Thank you.